I've heard you with some aviators on look a little bit like a Tom Cruise.
I've heard that from a couple of people, but I still don't get where it's coming from. I thought it was just people I know just basically...
Buttering you up.
Oh, buttering me up or taking the mickey out of me. Welcome to Building Perspective, the Master Builders SA podcast. I'm your host, Will Frogley. Join me as I speak with some characters in the building and construction industry.
Master Builders Insurance Brokers is where the building and construction industry goes for specialist advice. We know the right insurance cover is essential to the success of builders of all sizes. And we're here to help you understand, select and manage the right cover for your business. How do you know you've got the right cover? You trust the industry specialists.
Our guest today, he trained with the Crows as a young fella.
Wow.
He's pretty handy with a tennis racket, and he's director of 4RT. Terry Rogers, great to have you, mate.
Good to be here, Will. Thank you for the call up. This is fun.
Absolutely, mate. And how pumped are we to be bringing back building ideas?
Oh, mate. When I first heard that it was coming back on air, maybe 6 months ago, I was really excited. Obviously, I was part of the show for 4 or 5 years before it had its hiatus in the lead up to COVID. As a presenter, and had such a ball telling great stories around construction and the building industry. But when COVID hit, for whatever reason, I thought it was on the shelf and we weren't going to dust it off. So when it came back out, or the opportunity to be involved again, quietly, really pumped.
It's so exciting for us because, we ran building ideas for more than 20 years with a partnership with the state government. We'd kick in half the funding, the government would kick in half the funding. Unfortunately, it disappeared about 2019, but it was a dream of mine and to bring it back. And I got to have the conversation with the Premier, Peter Malinauskas, and the Treasurer, Stephen Mulligan, and they were right behind bringing it back. And we're just absolutely pumped. It's a great showcase of the local industry.
Oh, big time. At what point does a show become an institution? Like 19 years. I know we're about to do what I consider, and we talk about it internally at work, we call it Building Ideas V2. But 19 years beforehand, that says something, doesn't it? It says something about the quality of the building and construction industry, the amount of stories to be told, the amount of things going on. And I think for the Master Builders Association to have championed the industry for 19 years, that's really impressive. So we've got some responsibility to live up to those last 19 years, albeit making it new and different, which we are. And that's pretty cool.
Oh, absolutely. And I think it's the chance now to take it, building ideas to the next level.
Yeah.
And I appreciate your comments there as well, because Master Builders, we certainly see ourselves as the home of the industry. There are so many great stories to tell. And really, that's what building ideas is all about, isn't it?
It's so much about that. And like we've been working together closely over the last few months around the stories that we're going to tell, and with the support of the government and with the support of business locally in the state. There are so many exciting and new and different things that audiences can look forward to seeing. Whether it's about employment and opportunities for young people leaving school who are considering a job in the industry. The show will explore opportunities in that area, whether it's the things that the government's doing, community housing or social housing, or things that are happening in community, whether it's products, materials, or local iconic builders. It's going to be a jam-packed episode every week.
And we're absolutely pumped about it. So we've signed the contract with Channel 9. It's going to air in February, 10 episodes, 4:30 on a Sunday afternoon, once the Australian Open tennis is finished. So it's a really good time slot, and we're just absolutely pumped about it. We can't wait to see I can't wait to see the first episode.
Yeah, me too.
So tell us a bit about, you're obviously going to be co-hosting. Tell us about who else is going to be involved, and also your additional role in bringing building ideas together.
Yeah, so Jessica Braithwaite, who works at Channel 9, I believe I know she's a weather presenter on Channel 9 and probably does some other work there as well. She's going to be the co-host. She's taking over from the mantle from Nicole Willis, who did such a great job in previous seasons. Jessica's in the team, and her and I have been working together, and she's going to bring her own flair to things as well. What's really cool about Jess is that she's got a really inquisitive nature, and she's not afraid of just asking the questions. And I love that. So she's and she's also got this bent around environmental sustainability and how sustainable are things and what's its environmental footprint and the impact on the global emissions and so forth. So she's going to be bringing that to the show. We're working with her. And obviously we'll feature different businesses and people within each segment. But my business this year at 4RT, we've been given the responsibility, hopefully for the next few seasons, to produce the show. So we're really excited by that. When the opportunity came to present again, I think I had a discussion with yourself and Marissa and said, look, would love to present the show, but would love even more so to have the responsibility to produce it. And we are, which is great. So we're working through that at the moment, delivering some of the first creative ideas around the show, how it'll look, how it'll feel, how we tell our stories, what's our inspiration. We're in the thick of it. It's pretty cool.
And you've absolutely got the passion for the show, which is what I like, obviously, as CEO of NBA. I want anyone that's going to be driving something on that's got NBA's name on it to have the same passion for the association and the industry that I do. So I can definitely see that in you and your team.
Yeah. Well, but you would see it every day, I suppose, because we've got so many people within the industry who have got good news stories to tell. And perhaps,
absolutely we do.
Yeah. And perhaps, they're so busy doing the business and doing what they do that they don't have chance to wave the flag. And I think that the show is going to give them a chance to do that. You know how they say like a chef cooks great food for other people, but when he gets home, he just has baked beans on toast. And I think that can be said for the industry. They're out there doing, building, and not necessarily promoting. And this will be a chance for them to promote.
Absolutely. And give us an idea about what audiences can expect. Like you mentioned a few possibilities, but is it going to be mainly residential? Is there going to be some commercial? Are we going to talk about apprenticeships? What can viewers expect?
I don't want to give away all the secret sauce, mate. You know what I mean? No, look, I think every episode we're going to explore things from, we might feature a builder. We might look at an innovation that's happening in the interior of a home, a residential or a commercial. We might look at what's happening on the outdoor of a home. We might look at supplies and materials. We might visit schools or communities that are doing something interesting. We'll have different builders that will feature. And we'll also, again, I think I touched on it before, we'll talk a little bit about opportunities in the industry for those looking to explore a career. I think the show will appeal to, I guess you could call it a B2B. So if you're in the industry and if you're living and breathing and working in the industry, you'll be interested in the show because there'll be content. But if you're at home and you're thinking about a builder to build, or if you're renovating, or if you're a little bit of a DIYer and you're looking for tips and tricks and hints and where do I buy this and who's a good supplier, if you're conscious about supporting local, the show will also speak to that as well. So it really is an all-rounder, and we want it to be, because if the show only serviced mums and dads at home, then the industry would miss out. But if you're in the industry, you'll get something out of it. If you're a customer that needs the industry, you'll get something out of it. And if you're a handyman, which I'm not, but if you are, you get something out of it too.
You're not too good on the tools yourself, Terry?
I'm going to get better. I will get better. I think as the show evolves, I'll get better, mate. What about you? Do you get on the tools?
No, I've got to say I do a little bit around the house, but my wife certainly thinks I could do better.
So if the wife gave you a list on a Saturday, if she said to you, Will, you got the lawns, you can either paint, do the lawns, or fix some leaky plumbing, what are you doing?
Oh, out of that, I'd be doing the painting, I reckon.
Really?
Yeah.
I'd go to the lawns.
You go to the lawns?
Any day of the week. Give me the lawns, the hedges, the trimming.
Bit of a gardener then, more of a handyman.
It just gets me out of the house.
Yeah.
And it's easier to crack a beer and just plant it somewhere in the garden. That'd be me, I think.
Yeah. No, it's funny. Everyone kind of has their different background and skills that they bring to the table in our industry, and that's what makes us such an interesting industry, isn't it?
Like how many members has the NBA got now?
Oh, we're pushing 3,000 now, so businesses. So we're very large, and we certainly think we're having a big influence on the state of the industry in South Australia at the moment.
3,000 members across the industry, and that would be a huge cross-section of services, of businesses, and what they provide to the industry. So if you take that, and if you think we're going to do, let's say 4 seasons of the show, and if we look at the first 4 seasons, and we do 10 episodes per season, and we do 5 segments, 10 episodes, 5 segments, what's the maths in that? we're looking at about 60, 70, 80 segments per season. We've got 3,000 members. And if each of those wanted to be involved in the show in some capacity, we should be making this show for another 19 years, right? So
I love your vision there. Love your vision there, Terry.
I'm just trying to sell it in. Let's make sure that doesn't get edited out.
The vision, the passion, mate. I love it. But I think you did touch on something about what I think is so great about the MBA, and that it is going to be reflected in building ideas, is that we represent the whole of the industry, a massive industry. So everyone from a tier one builder to a one-man or one-woman sole trader, and everyone in between, that's who we represent, and that's who would have an interest in the show, plus the consumers who want a good builder, want a good tradie, all those types of things too.
And that's what will keep the show interesting, I think. You know, is that on any given week, we might be at a commercial site looking at a major infrastructure development. We might be looking at, I remember in previous years, we would go and look at the Southern Expressway being built. And then we'd go from that segment to a small bespoke residential builder. So things are interesting. There's so many stories to tell that it won't be a boring half an hour of TV. I can guarantee you that.
Not a chance, mate. Not a chance. So tell us about your previous stint as a co-host on Building Ideas. What were some of the most memorable stories you did during that time?
Oh, wow, you've put me on the spot. The one thing I do remember is at the end of every season, we would have the wrap-up and the awards. And that is a bit of a retrospective of the year that was, both for the show and for the industry. It was a slightly different episode, that last one, but it was a chance where we honoured all of the high achievers and the notable achievements of the year for the industry. So that was always good. I never forget those because they were generally attached to the awards night as well. So we would come in and we would film the episode as people were arriving for this gala event. So you're spinning a fair few different plates. You're sort of talking to the camera, g'day and welcome to the show. And then you've got a mate over here who's probably 3 beers deep, who's waving at you, and you're like, leave me alone, I'm trying to work here. And then we'd often have to host the event as well. So those nights were always very memorable. I do remember doing a piece down at Port Adelaide around alternative materials for residential housing, where we went and visited homes built out of like the mud bricks and that were using some sort of energy efficiency innovation. And that resonated with me. I'll never forget that. That was cool. What else? We always used to have a car sponsor as well. So we used to go and play around with some of the cars as well. Was one of the Toyota back in the day.
Sounds like a terrible thing to do. Yeah.
Oh, wasn't it? Like we used to play
around in cars.
Oh, mate, driving around in cars and sort of exploring it. And that's the one thing that I loved about the show, is that I learned something every day as well. So I'm in the process of renovating our house, and it's significant. It's a big undertaking. We're ripping down most of the house. We're pouring the slab.
And you're using a master builder memory.
We're still vying. There's still 2 in the race. So when we confirm the builder, I'll come back on and I'll proudly announce who they are. And that'll be worth something, I think. And maybe they can take it off of the bill. Okay, yeah, I can see this. I can see where it's going. So you're always learning. And that's what I remember about the show. So whether you go and talk to someone at what was Boral Pavers and you learn about the thermal qualities of their pavers, or whether you go out to Matt Beckwith at Finesse Built and you get to see the glorious design of one of his homes and really understand the thought that goes behind it. Awesome. Or then you go and speak to the minister about a great development that they're doing in a particular growth corridor in the state, and how they're supporting employment and providing jobs to the industry. So you're always learning, and I love that.
You mentioned the awards night. It'd be great if we could get that on future seasons of Building Ideas, because we just had ours a couple of weeks ago, and far out, that's becoming.
How was it?
It's becoming like, it has to be pretty close to the biggest event of its type in the state now for a dinner. I mean, we had I think 1,350 people there this year. We had a waiting list of about 50 people who we couldn't go because we literally couldn't fit them in the room at the convention centre.
Wow.
It's just an incredible showcase of the industry, the work our members do. It's a great celebration of our members and that fantastic work they do. It blows my mind seeing some of the projects. They're truly world class. And for that to be happening right here in our own backyard, it's a really fantastic night and a big moment for them.
And you can continue to celebrate the winners, I guess, and also the nominees, because do you distribute a booklet afterwards, or as a magazine?
We got a magazine that lists not only all the winners but all the entrants as well.
Yeah, and that makes for good reading because you actually get to see all of this stuff showcased, right? So that's pretty cool, and that's what we'll be doing with the show this year as well. So not only will people be able to consume building ideas on a broadcast network on Channel 9, but we'll also be using social channels as well. So we'll be using Instagram and other mediums to communicate the show, and we're hoping that will help appeal to broader and younger audiences.
Makes a lot of sense because now the longevity of an episode goes far beyond the half an hour that it's on, and now you can get it out to so many more mediums and people who are on the show can, use it to promote their businesses for months or even years to come. So it's what a great initiative.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the benefit of the show for the industry as well, is that we're helping those members, and we said it earlier, we're helping those members and participants create content for themselves that they can use as well to wave the flag and to hopefully win new business for themselves.
Absolutely. Well, Terry, mate, I'm absolutely pumped.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see the first episode. The whole team at NBA is pumped about it. All the members I speak to are just thrilled that the show's coming back, and we just can't wait to see it.
Did you get your script? We're going to have you on the first episode, aren't we?
Oh, that's news to me, yeah.
No, I'll send it to you just like 2 minutes beforehand.
2 minutes before you put me on the spot.
Yeah, exactly. Like you've done to me today, mate. Well, I heard that Will Frogley has been drawn comparisons to a Tom Cruise in a Top Gun 2 recently as well. So I've heard you with some aviators on look a little bit like a Tom Cruise.
I've heard that from a couple of people, but I still don't get where it's coming from. I thought it was just people I know just basically
buttering you up.
Well, buttering me up or taking the mickey out of me. But then I was in a 7-Eleven in Melbourne the other day, and there was a bloke behind the counter, and he said, "Oh, sir, you look like the guy in the movies who flies the fighter jet."
There you go.
And then because my wife says there's no comparison.
Well, that's
to Tom
the
Cruise,
ultimate test. What does Maurice
I said, "Hey, look, there's a stranger in the 7-Eleven saying I look like him. Maybe it's got some substance."
She gave you nothing, didn't she? No way.
Thanks for joining me on Building Perspective. For more information on Master Builders or our guests, please visit our website at mbasa.com.au.